After number 7, we're at number 8. Number 8 only has an A, B, and C option. That's a typo on my part. That will be fixed by tomorrow. There will be 4 options, okay? But it carries on much the way that the last problem did. We're given a function, f of x. This time it's x squared. Hey, guys, it's a parabola. It's a quadratic right there, okay? Just thinking ahead. X squared plus 5x plus 4. And it says, what does that f of x equal given that x equals -3? So it's just a different way of asking. But this time, it's crucial to note that we have 2 places to plug this in. Parenthesis -3 squared plus 5, parenthesis -3, close them off, plus 4. This is the same exact equation we just had at the start, except for everywhere I had the variable x, I now have a -3 plugged in. And this is crucial right here, guys. Please, when you go to type this in, you need these parentheses. You really do. I showed some of you this today, okay? Let's look at how bad the calculator can do sometimes. We know -3 times -3 is +9. But watch what happens if you do it like this. Our calculator actually thinks that this, the way we have it typed in up there, our calculator, it can't think on its own. It can only do what you tell it, and it thinks this is -1 times 3 squared, okay? To it, the negative symbol is a multiplication. Well, then our calculator, it thinks it's going to be -9. We know that's wrong, guys. We know that -3 squared, especially if I put the parentheses, is -3 times -3, and negative times negative is +9. So it's just calculator error, okay? You should be getting +9 there. But if you type it in incorrectly, if you type it in like this, it's going to give you -9, which you know is wrong. You know it's wrong. But you trust your calculator so much sometimes that when you hit enter, you go, oh yeah, I knew that was -9. No, you need those parentheses. -3 squared should be +9. This is correct. Look how similar these inputs are, and look that they give us opposite answers. Always use these parentheses when you're plugging stuff in, okay? So again, I just showed you -3 squared should be 9. This is -15 plus 4, okay? You can type it in the calculator. You can type it in this whole thing just like it is. That entire step you can type in. I chose to kind of do a little bit of it by hand now that I just shown you the squared trick with the calculator. 9 minus 15 should be a -6 plus 4, which is -2. Number 9 is our most difficult evaluate problem, because instead of just dealing with extra numbers like plugging in 2's and -3's, we're plugging a 4a in everywhere we had an x, and there are 2 places. So we had -5, that's just part of the equation. Instead of x, we now have 4a. Plus 7, plus 3, nothing changed there. But instead of that x, we now have 4a. And that is, again, just to be technical, the function evaluated at 4a, not the 4a, at 4a. Okay? Well, we start cleaning this up. -5 times 4 is -20a, plus 7 plus 12a, and I'm sitting there feeling pretty good about it. I'm like, okay, let's double check. Let's look at the answers, see if we're done. My answers all have either 2 pieces left, such as these 2, or just 1, so there must be some cleanup left to do. And I spot that cleanup pretty quickly. It's going to be like terms here and here. When I combine them, I get -8a plus 7, and that, in fact, is option A. On to my personal favorite part, many people's least favorite part, solving equations, okay? This is such a crucial part of Algebra 1, guys. You've got to have this down. This has got to be like clockwork. It's just got to be automatic here. Let's get going. Number 10, we have some like terms on the left-hand side with a +1 and a -5. I'm going to combine those. The -3r stays the same. We get -4 equals -16. I'm going to add 4 to both sides. Those are going to cancel out. I get -3r equals -12. Divide by -3, divide by -3, we get r equals +4. So I went through that one quickly. That's a rather easy one. That's just a couple steps into it, okay? There's 3. But I do want to take some time and I'm going to slow down and show you how to check your work. So this left-hand side has a bunch of stuff going on. It's got a 1 minus 3, and we don't have r from the beginning, but we just found it. So let's test it. Let's take r out and plug in 4, which is what we just stated r equal. Minus 5. Now what I'm hoping is when I press the enter button, it equals whatever is on that right-hand side. And that's how we know we got it correct. Okay, so r does have to be 4. Slightly more challenging problem. We look here and we have the letter B. This is a B, not a 6. A B on both sides of the equation. So we want to get those together. And we can't just magically say, oh good, let's just subtract B from both sides, because this one's trapped by those parentheses. Okay? This one's trapped by those parentheses, and our first order of business is freeing it up by distributing. That's going to be a 3B plus 15 equals 29 plus 5B. Two ways we can go here. You can subtract 5B from both sides and put it on the left. If you're one of those variable on the left people, that's what you're going to do. Or we can subtract 3B from both sides. I do that because it'll keep the variables positive. I'm going to try to switch it up though. I'm going to get used to going different directions with this. I'm going to go ahead and do what a lot of you do, which is subtract 5B from both sides. You just like the variables on the left. That's perfectly fine. That's going to give me a negative 2B plus 15 equals 29. I'm going to subtract 15 from both sides because I've got all my variables grouped together. So now I need to start isolating. I need to get everything else away from it. Negative 2B equals 14. And therefore, dividing by 2 on both sides, I get that B equals negative 7. Again, you can plug that in to double check. Negative 7 into here becomes a negative 2, and I combine those, giving me negative 6 on the left side when I multiply. A negative 7 in here, okay, gives me a negative 35. Combine it with a positive 29, and I get a negative 6, just like I was supposed to, so that worked out. Number 12 down here at the bottom has even more stuff going on. I think part of my page is cut off. Let's go back and forward. There we go. It's got even more stuff going on down here on number 12. Again, though, we have to start by freeing it up. Distribute. We get negative 7n minus 14 plus 2n equals negative 22 minus 5n. Didn't change anything here on the right side. There was no work to be done yet. And that's going to continue forward because on the left side, we have some work to do again. We've got some like terms here. That negative 7 plus 2 is going to combine to be a negative 5n minus 14 equals negative 22 minus 5n. Okay, let's start moving some variables around. We got to get the variables together. I'm going to add 5n to both sides. These are going to cancel like I wanted them to. And then, these are going to cancel as well. Trust yourself when that happens. That's not going to be a 10n. That's going to cancel. Negative 5 plus 5 is 0n. That means 0. So I get negative 14 equals negative 22. I can stop right there. That is a false statement. Okay? And whenever I have a false statement, that means my actual answer to the problem is no solution. Hey, we did a lot of those special examples, and on the review, I put a no solution. So, you never know. Maybe on the actual test tomorrow, it might have an infinitely many solutions. If that was a true statement, if it had been 0 equals 0, or 5 equals 5, or 10 equals 10, something like that, then it would have been an infinitely many solutions. Make sure you know the difference between those two results.